Hello everyone, my name's Alex and welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about nipping. If you're thinking about getting an Australian cattle dog, you have to know that nipping comes with the package. So these dogs were These dogs were bird. Okay. So cattle dogs were bred to herd livestock, and when they're herding, they are going after ankles. So it's not like other ankle biters like Chihuahuas or Yorkies where they draw blood and cause havoc like that. But I probably just made the whole Chihuahua Yorkie community really mad at me for saying that. But so a nip is more like a pinch to the ankle. So pretend this is the ankle, and cattle dog, you know, and just nips to try to herd you in the direction you want to go to. So out of all four of mine, there's been varying degrees of nipping or no nipping. And the best way I found to get rid of that behavior is to tell them no. I'm serious. Tell them no. Or quit it. Something along those lines. Now it sounds like way too simple, and it doesn't always work for everybody. I really believe in teaching your dog the term no, like to let them know no is bad behavior. So Silver only nipped me twice when we first got her, and both times I would stop walking, tell her no, and actually the second time I think I actually said no, I don't like that, and she never nipped me again. Gypsy, I don't ever remember nipping me when she was a baby. Lucian loved to chase people and nip children, and he was my challenge on getting him to stop doing it to other people. And Clea was definitely one that nipped me more than once. It definitely felt more like a pinch. She never drew blood or anything like that. And I don't remember exactly what age she started doing it. It was maybe between 4 to 6 months. She started really getting that herding instinct in, and she's like, I'm gonna herd mommy. And I got nipped a couple times in the back of the ankle, but telling her no didn't seem to work. Even though I would stop and tell her no, or I'd hold her and be like no to try to stop the behavior, she went right back to it. Another kind of training method to get them to stop nipping is to redirect the nip. I decided to get a huge jolly ball and have her herd that. So when she did try to nip, I would tell her no, and she started kind of getting it, but she still kept looking at my ankle trying to go after it. So I would push the ball or throw the ball and have her go get it, and that just redirected that that's okay, but when you do it to mommy, it's not okay. So thankfully it was simple enough training for her. Now, I've heard horror stories about cattle dogs constantly nipping, and they constantly are biting people, and I've never seen that with my dogs. So I'm not sure if that is the owner's fault. I probably just made somebody else really mad by saying that. But in all seriousness, if you don't establish that you're pack leader, they're not going to know what to do. And cattle dogs love to get direction from their human. They want to please you. Like, they are just so loyal, which I've said many times before. So if a dog's having that much behavioral problems where it's biting constantly or hurting to the point where it's biting ankles constantly, I feel like that's something that was taught or not taught properly to the dog, and it needs to be fixed, because you don't want a dog going around biting people, even if it is just a nip, because the nip could turn into something more nippier, more bloodier. Ankle biters, you Chihuahuas, you. Training is a huge help with nipping, in my opinion. And grant you, I haven't had much nipping in this house because we nipped it in the butt, so to speak. Haha. So, but if you train your dog and you redirect that energy, or even just exercise your cattle dogs, they don't think about hurting, it seems like. At least my experience. And tone is important too. If you tell your cattle dog, no, don't do that, that's not establishing dominance. That's just making you sound like a wuss. I'm gonna really make people mad, I think, in this video. But there's a big difference between no and no. You know, like, you have to have tone. And you have to make sure that they know you are leader of the pack. Definitely don't yell at them when they nip you. Don't smack them or sidekick them or bop them in the head. That's not gonna do anybody any good. One, that's mean to the dog, and two, it's not gonna correct the behavior of not doing that. It's not a positive reaction to that action. Did I say that right? Probably. Maybe. So the simplest way I've always done it is just stop. If they're hurting you as you're walking or running, just stop. Stop in your tracks. Tell them no. If they don't listen, force them to sit or force them to do something else to redirect it, and then maybe start walking again. If they do it, do no again. Make sure they know that that's not good behavior. Another thing that I was really good with Lucian was teaching them how to heel, where they're by your side. And anytime he would do that, he got a treat. Granted, he wasn't really the nipper, but he needed to learn that he needed to be by my side because of how much he wanted to go off after kids and stuff. Definitely don't reward them when they do the nip, but if they do something positive, like listen or just walk by your side without nipping, definitely reward them with a toy or with a cookie or something like that. Any agility training, any kind of exercise, I think is huge on getting them to stop nipping. One of the treats I love using for training is Zook's mini naturals things. The dogs love them and they're super, super tiny. Like, oh, somebody just got one. See, super tiny. So you don't give them too many extra calories and they get treated. Gypsy, sit. Good. Good girl, good girl. But any kind of small treat will work. You don't have to use this one. It's just one that I love using because they seem to love it. If you have kids, teach the kids to stop too. So I've heard a lot of things where people got rid of their cattle dogs because the dog would go chasing after the kids and bite the ankle. And it's like, well, if the kid's running, I personally think cattle dogs think children are mini cattle. So they just go after the kid and nip them. And they're not doing it to be mean. That's just it's what they're bred to do. But people don't stop the behavior quick enough and then they end up getting rid of the dog. And so maybe also train your kids to stop too. Like train the whole household to learn how to stop the nipping. Like I said, I haven't had too much issues, but I've heard horror stories through other people. But then I've also heard many, many great stories about how, yeah, they nipped for a little bit, but they're fine. So it just, you have to like stop the behavior that you don't want, whether it's nipping or other things, before it escalates further, before they think that this is an okay thing. Probably gonna sound like a broken record, but seriously, training, exercise, it will really help your cattle dog in so many ways because they have so much energy, whether it's to nip or to run or any of the things cattle dogs do, that you just have to redirect it and teach them yes for no. It's just like teaching them sit. It's just another behavior that you want them to do or not do. And Clea just farted. You farted. That's the bad thing about those Zook's treats. So hopefully this helps somebody out there a little bit. I don't feel like I've been very helpful because I haven't had many issues, but if you've had some horror stories of your cattle dog and how you fix their nipping, you can leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it because I'm always gonna have cattle dogs. You never know if I get one that's too nippy. I might need some advice myself. I know it's just pretty simple to say no and to force them to stop doing it, but it really, to me, it really is that simple. As long as you're pack leader and they listen to you. And out of my 4, like I said, I've only had very little issues with it, but it is something to consider and remember when you're getting a cattle dog. But as always, training, exercise, spending time with your dog, because that's really what they want from you. So, and teaching them how to behave is just helps stimulate their minds and to help them behave the way you want them to. Of course, I say behave the way that you want them to, but yet I can't get this one to stop eating cat poo for the life of me. Ain't that right, woo woo? She's ignoring me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up, hit subscribe, and the dingy bell buttons, all the buttons, and I'll see you later. You wanna say bye-bye? You wanna say bye-bye to them? Look at the camera. Can you look? Total focus on rabbit treat. See, oh, there's a snoot. My hand is covered in doggy drool. Yes, yes, yes.